Q&A. This time we're mixing things up a little, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to our new Managing Director, Kathryn Scott. Hi.
Hello, nice to see you, Emma. Delighted to be in the hot seat with you.
I know, delighted to have you in the hot seat. So you've taken up the role of Managing Director of what we call Group Doctors, which is a collection of the brands within Acacium Group. And you're joining us with an impressive resume from recruitment consultant to team leader and business manager to managing director, all within our sister brand, Post Mental Health. So I think the best way to start this will be to find out why you took up tenure as Managing Director of Group Doctors, given you were the leader of an already successful division. And by success, I mean in terms of delivery of support for the NHS and private clients.
So, yeah, great question to start. So having worked for Pulse for my whole career in healthcare recruitment, so just over 16 years, I really felt as if industry that I was working in, so very specifically mental health. But as time went on, I realised, having spent more time with some of our other sister brands within Acacium Group, such as I did a job swap for a month with one of our other brands, started to collaborate a little bit more with some of the community services. I started to think that perhaps I could utilise my skills, but within a different brand, but staying within the same organisation. And it's quite scary when you've been somewhere for such a long time and you think, well, am I only good in this environment because the people know me and I know the brand? But then it was really over the past year that I started to think, actually, I'd like to broaden my skill set a little bit and see if I could do this somewhere else. So had really open conversations with my line manager. And this is the great thing about the group, that there are so many opportunities for people to move around and progress. And then this came up, and yeah, I absolutely bit his hand off for it and said, yes, please, because I could see that there were synergies between what I'd done within Pulse, but then equally a really exciting new opportunity to work with different people and make an impact in a completely different business with different challenges. So yeah, so lots of different reasons, but you know, I'm up for change and like moving forward with my career. And so yeah, here we are a month in, and it's been a fantastic month so far.
I think that's a really inspiring story as well for anyone within Acacium Group, just to see how you can progress your career. So with 16 years experience in the business, what do you think the industry is going to look like in 5 to 10 years? So like healthcare as a whole.
Yeah, great question. I feel like I'm going to say that for every question that you ask me. Okay, so obviously having been here for a long time, I've seen a lot of change from the inception of the caps, which we'll remember that came in 2016, which of course looked to drive value into the NHS and reduce cost, from new frameworks, from IR35, agency worker regulations. So I would have thought that, thinking about how it's transpired over the past decade, we can only expect that same level of change for the next decade, particularly as the pressures on the healthcare system are becoming more and more exacerbated. So I suppose I'm hopeful, because I'm forever the optimist. I'm hopeful that there's going to be a few things that are going to positively impact the shape and the future of the healthcare sector. So first things first, I think, and I'm really hopeful that there's going to be lots of opportunities for new doctors to get into training, because at the moment people are retiring, then there's not enough people then going back into the system to be able to manage that increased level of demand. And of course, we've got an aging population, so the need for healthcare is only becoming more. So I'm really hopeful that there'll be lots more opportunities for new doctors in training. Secondly to that, I would say opportunities for doctors from overseas. So of course that became quite difficult through Brexit, but we've seen and are continuing to demand for doctors who have been internationally trained, and we can support them with GMC registration and IELTS and the like, which I know that you've got well documented on some of our web pages. And I think, therefore, really that supply of doctors needs to continue to, not just looking at the traditional methods of training somebody in the NHS and then they go into a substantive post. We need to be looking at the world as an opportunity for doctors to move around, not only into England, but back out to support the whole of the global healthcare economy, because different training, different experiences is only going to hopefully complement what we're trying to achieve here in the UK. So more training opportunities, more opportunities for international doctors. I think demand is only going to increase, as we said, because of all of the different factors, and we are in general getting unhealthier as a nation. So I think that we're going to have to ensure that the services that we offer continue to evolve and develop in line with that demand. And people are always going to be at the heart of that, whether it be the recruiters that are picking up the phone and speaking to doctors, whether it be the fantastic people that are sitting there booking the shifts in for doctors, or the on-calls or the long-term substantive positions. But I think that it has to be supplemented with good, robust technology, not to replace people, but to enhance what the people are able to do and become more efficient. So I'd like to see improvements with rostering and the way that we communicate, and automatically matching people to jobs, and using a bit of artificial intelligence to understand the I guess the working patterns of people, their desires, what they're looking for in terms of location and specificities of roles. So yeah, that's probably a very long-winded answer, but I think in general, just trying to increase as best we can the capacity of the healthcare sector, because it's only the need is only going to get more.
No, I think that's a really intelligent answer, and based off everything you've known and what you've learned in the last 16 years, it's, I think, a positive forecast as well of the future, and that's what I'd like to see as well, especially in my role. Obviously the international support's a big thing because we're thinking of the future. What are your personal long-term goals?
Oh, you know what? It's an interesting one, because whenever I interview someone, I always ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And I think to myself, if I was asked that question in reverse, I actually don't know how to answer that. So I think you probably would have thought in my role, given that we talk about long-term vision and future plans, I've got a very clear picture of that for the business, but not so much for myself. Just because
Did you share the business plan? I mean, what
okay.
obviously within reason what you can. Yeah, I'd love to hear the business
Yeah,
long-term
sure.
goal.
So I guess where our doctors division, we've got lots of different brands doing lots of different things. I really want us to kind of galvanize that all together and just ensure that whatever we're doing over in this corner of the business, we're utilizing that and adopting the same processes and ways of working in another part of the business, and what we've learned over here, implement it over there within reason, of course, and if it's appropriate for the business. But we have such a strong offering combined. If you think about the Acacium Group, which has 20 plus brands, all operating relatively independently, actually the power of the group, and then if you sort of isolate that into group doctors, the power of all the brands within group doctors is a really, really compelling one. So something that we can do to try and make sure that we are offering all of the brilliant services that we've got out to our clients, and not just working too much in our silos. I think a really important one, and this goes for the doctors just as much as it does for the employees, is career progression. So I think you and I spoke about this before, about, when can we get that doctor their first opportunity as a consultant? How can we take them through that career journey so that they start all the way from, a ST1 all the way up to a consultant, and we've supported them to do that. And I think we can only really do that by collaborating internally as well, and making it clear that actually we can support you from your first placement to your long-term last placement. So yeah, definitely doing more in terms of career opportunities for doctors, but also for our own staff. I'm a good example of the fact that you can work in have lots of different opportunities. And it's not that it has to be dictated what's on a piece of paper. I want to give people the opportunity to feel like they can ask for the next opportunity. What does it look like? Where can my career go? But then also carving their own path as well. So I suppose high level vision for the future is to be the most reputable brand of providing services to both doctors and healthcare clients, hopefully globally, but we'll start small and we'll stick with the UK. But we can only do that with a real shared vision and shared values, and really, really importantly, a shared purpose. You know, why are we here? What do we want to do in the future? What's the impact that we're having on ourselves, on the doctors, on the healthcare sector as a whole? So yeah, for me, purpose is really important to make sure that we're always reminding ourselves of the importance of what we're doing.
I love that. That feels like the answer of a true leader. So I feel like you're in the right position leading group doctors. What are your values as a leader?
My values. Okay, so I could rattle off a whole long list of things about, you know, the cliche ones. First and foremost for me, and whether this is a value or not, you have to enjoy what you do, else there is just no point in doing it. So for me, enjoyment, happiness, fulfillment, however you want to describe it, that has always been the number one spot for me. And I always said, the minute that I stop enjoying what I do, my heart and soul into something, if I don't truly believe in what I'm doing, which comes back to the sense of purpose as well. So happiness, making sure that I'm feeling fulfilled, but also that I can see the people around me are fulfilled as well. So, you know, keeping that vision, communication really clear, but understanding, I'm sort of saying the same things, but understanding what makes them tick as well. You know, what are other people's values? Because surely we need a shared sense of value and purpose in order to achieve our goals together. But one thing that I am always is very consultative, very inclusive. So I like to ensure that everyone feels as if their opinions are heard and valid, whether we can or can't do something, that you've genuinely been listened to. I'll always be honest, and I expect honesty in return. So if something's good, know about it. But if something's not so good, let's also talk about it. So we've just got to be straightforward and transparent with each other. So listening first to people, because I don't want to come up with a solution to a problem that I think exists and actually haven't really listened to what people are saying and what people want. So never assuming. I think that also taps into that as well. And you can only not assume if you listen to what people are saying. So again, long answer on that one, Emma, but I think the root of everything that I do is enjoyment. You have to enjoy what you do, because then everything else is so much easier.
I think that's great. I think all of those things as well make it a great place to work internally, but you get the same vibe and enthusiasm at the other end of the phone for the doctors and clients. I think it's
Exactly.
well-rounded. So in terms of the listening, I have some questions from the sales floor. One is a professional question and a couple are my more personal quick fire.
Okay.
So the professional question is, what has your biggest learning experience on your journey to managing director? With the benefit of hindsight, would you do anything differently?
Oh, big question. And you can tell I'm not very good at answering questions quickly, but I will try and answer this one quickly. Learn to be patient. So I am very much, classic millennial. I want everything now. I want to see results instantly. And whilst I think being impatient in this industry is a good thing, actually, when I say patience, I mean not trying to run before I can walk. You know, my old CEO said to me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And he used to repeat that to me constantly, because I just wanted to get my arms around everything and sort everything out right now, and felt as if I wasn't doing a good enough job if I wasn't all over absolutely everything. So I think just pacing myself, and that's, I guess, the advice I would give to anyone as well, is that you can't be everything to everyone at all. So pacing yourself and doing what you're doing with quality, rather than just trying to do everything and as I said, be everything to everybody. And what else? There was another one which I now can't remember. It might come back to me, but definitely just pacing myself, trying to run before I can walk.
That's a good answer. I think I'm quite like that, so I can probably learn from that answer.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
thank you.
easier said than done, right? I'm saying this right now, and I've got a whole long list of things that I need to do. Oh, that was what I was going to say. Trusting other people to do things as well as you feel that you would do them yourself. And I think we're quite similar as well with this, Emma. Being a perfectionist, you want
Yeah.
everything perfect, you know the way that you do it, and you expect people to do it the same. But actually, it's all right if people do it in their own way, because who's to say it won't be even better than the way
Yeah.
that you've done it before? So I think also a lot of that comes back to trust, which I probably should have mentioned in one of my values, that you just have to trust people to do what they say that they're going to do. And I've always said this, I will always trust people until they give me a reason not to. So for me, you will always have my trust implicitly. So yeah, ensuring that people are interested and feel trusted to do the job makes it easier and not so much pressure on yourself to have to be that all-encompassing person to everyone.
Oh, that's great. I think I and hopefully other people watching this video can actually learn from your learning experience. It's nice to hear it from someone who's been so successful. The last three are just quick fire questions, so we'll try and do them briefly.
I'll try.
Have you
I liked your subtle hint there, Emma.
I know you've got a long list to do. How have you found your first month in Group Doctors? I've actually seen a LinkedIn post about this as well, which is
I was going to say,
yeah.
I actually posted about it because it was a month yesterday. Okay, I'll answer quickly. Insightful, energizing, exhausting, enlightening, really encouraging. Everyone's just been so open and willing and friendly and lovely, and clearly just embracing everything that we've been doing. So it's been absolutely brilliant. I've loved it.
I think there's a lot of alliteration in that answer. I can't wait to listen to
it.
How has the last month differed from your time with Pulse Mental Health?
Oh, that's not a quick fire question, I don't think. You know what? It's just people are different, aren't they? It's a different location. I have a different commute. I'm in an office where there's 20 different brands rather than just one. So actually, there's been a lot more just natural collaboration rather than having to pick up the phone to someone or arranging a meeting. There's just been those off the cuff conversations that you would never have unless you were in the same environment. I think it's, fundamentally it's the same but different, which also sounds like a cliche, but we're all part of the same group. We're all have a common goal in terms of, wanting to deliver the best services we can and providing care to the healthcare and social care sector. So same but different is what I would say.
Perfect summary. And obviously, like you said, we are all part of Acacium Group, so I think
Exactly.
You'd expect it to be the same throughout. And then the last one is a silly one. What type of music gets you on the dance floor?
Anything I can sing along to. Don't give me any music that's just, a drum beat or a bass or something. I want lyrics, anything from, I love the noughties music because that was when I was a teen. So probably, yeah, something classic from early 2000s would get me on the dance floor.
We were talking about this in the office yesterday, actually, and by chance, and everyone was talking about Mr. Brightside being like the anthem that comes on.
So true. Well, I've recently discovered a heart radio station which is solely dedicated to the noughties, and it's absolutely sensational. Literally so many throwbacks.
I'll put a link to Heart under this video for anyone who wants something as they're doing their
yes,
good
absolutely.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining me in today's Q&A. It was lovely to have you here.
Pleasure.
To learn a bit more about you and the vision for the future. So yeah, just want to say thank you very much.